The left hand says pipelines are a yes. Really? The right hand says there's no need for pipelines. So let me get this straight. The left hand says national unity is rock solid. And then the right hand says, Alberta, they're just making noise. Then in the very same breath, in the very same cabinet meeting, we're being told that there's no need for new pipelines. And oil, in fact, is on the decline. Oh, just wait a minute. The Prime Minister himself says, yes, we're going to build pipelines. You can't make this stuff up. Welcome back to Unfiltered. Hey, it's Dan, and in this episode, this is exactly what we've been waiting for out here in the West. We're going to be fact-checking the spin and exposing the contradictions, and we're going to bring the voice of the West back into the national conversation right here today on Unfiltered. Make sure you stick around too, because later in this episode, you're going to love this. We're going to show you the exact moment the left hand and the right hand punch each other in the face on live television. This stuff, it's about to get real.
Unity. Is that one of the things broadly discussed today moving forward?
Well, as we all know, we're one Canada, and I think the Prime Minister has been a champion of advocating for one great, big, happy family called Canada, and I think all Canadians are in.
Don't you just love that? A reporter tosses a softball about national unity, and what do we get? Jazz hands, pom-poms, and national unity is great, they say. Western alienation, that's just noise. Apparently, we're all supposed to be grateful we still get invited to the party, even if Ottawa keeps eating our lunch.
One question on pipelines. Mr. Guilbeault just said a few hours ago that we might not need a new pipeline in Canada. Do you agree with him?
Well, first of all, if we look at the history of Prime Minister Harper, never delivered one pipeline. Our Prime Minister is now saying we're going to work with the provinces and they'll have the environmental authority to approve pipelines as we move forward. So he is reaching out to a lot of the provinces in the partnership mode, and I think it's an exciting time for our oil and gas sector here in the province.
Is there a contradiction between Minister Guilbeault and your Prime Minister?
No, there is not. We're all united on that front, and I think it's fantastic for the oil and gas sector. Don't forget, folks, we're third worldwide in terms of production of oil and gas.
Like I said, you can't make this stuff up. Same guy, same Mike, asked about pipeline unity. He says, oh, don't worry, the Prime Minister will work with the provinces. But not before taking a cheap swipe at Prime Minister Harper, claiming he never built a single pipeline. Hey, here's a wild idea. Maybe Harper didn't build one because he was blocked at every single one of them. So much for this unity.
Premier Smith says that she's still concerned that you're part of cabinet and also the new selection of Mr. Boozing for the environment minister. She says it's too close of a tie to you. What do you say in response to that?
I think we will have to agree to disagree with Premier Smith. We think that protecting the environment, fighting climate change is important. Lots of Canadians believe that as well. It was a central element of our platform, and we will make good on our commitments.
Hang tight, because that knockout punch from the left is coming up soon. So now we have the left hand reappearing. Minister Guilbeault, he shrugs and says he agrees to disagree with Premier Smith on protecting the environment. How about we translate that for you here out west? We're going to keep gutting Alberta's energy sector, but we'll put a smile on when we do it.
Had been asking throughout the campaign, and now, is this Prime Minister Mark Carney of values, or is it the Prime Minister of the campaign? Are you going to build that pipeline if the consensus exists?
First off, I've said repeatedly yes. First point.
And then comes the slap across the face from the right hand. Prime Minister Carney asked point blank, are you going to build pipelines? He doesn't dodge and he doesn't waffle. He says yes. No qualifiers, no spin, just yes. Now pause right there. If we take Prime Minister Carney at his word, then what comes next from Minister Guilbeault is either directly undermining the new Prime Minister or proof that the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing.
Unity. How do you address that right now?
So on pipelines, people should remember that we bought a pipeline, Trans Mountain, and that is only used right now about 40% capacity. So I think before we start talking about building an entire new pipeline, maybe we should maximize the use of existing infrastructure. And the Canadian Energy Regulator, as well as the International Energy Agency, are telling us that probably by 2028, 2029, demand for oil will peak globally, and it will also peak in Canada. So as far as I know, there are no investors right now. There are no companies that are saying that they want to build an east-west pipeline. And as you know, these things are built by companies, not governments.
So here's Guilbeault at it again, doing what Guilbeault does best, frankly, scare tactics, half-truths, and recycled talking points. Guilbeault claims oil demand is actually on a decline. And Guilbeault also says there's no investors who want to build pipelines in Canada anyways, and Trans Mountain, it's not even running at full capacity. Let's just say it, and it's the truth. This is a campaign against the West and Alberta in slow motion. But let's fact check some of what he said. Goldman Sachs, not an exact Alberta-friendly think tank, they released a full report stating a few things about oil. Number one, demand isn't peaking until 2034, could go to 2040 if EV adoption slows. Emerging markets and petrochemicals are driving growth, and jet fuel demand alone is rising through 2040. You can find a link to this article in the description from Goldman Sachs. So Guilbeault's prediction, to be quite frank, it's dead wrong and it's dangerously misleading.
There is a pipeline that goes from Manitoba into the US and then to Ontario. And in order for us to have the energy security that we need to make sure that we have a pipeline going to Ontario that is within our borders.
Frankly, I think Mitchell nailed it this week on CTV. She said what every Albertan is thinking. We need a pipeline that goes to Ontario within our borders. She's calling out the Ottawa echo chamber for pretending to listen, but making sure Alberta always sits at the kids' table. And frankly, I think she's right. Premier Danielle Smith isn't staying quiet on this matter either. She's dismayed. Those were the words she used after seeing who Carney picked for his cabinet. She said what we're all thinking. This lineup sends a clear message. Ottawa isn't changing course. She knows this is going to be a war of attrition, policy by policy, pipeline by pipeline. Now for some final unfiltered thoughts. Here we are. The left hand says oil is over, pipelines are dead, shut it all down. And the right hand says, don't worry, folks, we're going to build you those pipelines. Meanwhile, Alberta gets choked out by regulations, insulted at press conferences, and frankly told to sit down, be quiet, but keep paying. We see you, Ottawa, and we're not buying it. Subscribe to Unfiltered if this really ticked you off. That just means you are awake. Drop a comment below as well. Do you believe the left hand, the right hand, or no hands? If you want to check out that Goldman Sachs article, the link is in the description. Hey, thank you so much for being a part of Unfiltered. We are only getting louder, sharper, and more unfiltered than ever.